Welcome to the bold analysis. And politicians are very hypocritical. Someone should tell the politician that the period and the phase for political propaganda is now behind us. And now the leaders must face the reality on ground. 13th September, that was last week, when the President William Samoei Ruto made an announcement in Kasarani that he was going to revert some operations of Naivasha port back to Mombasa. I think you could see the mood, and everyone celebrated, including people that could have benefited, or rather people whose constituents were benefiting from the Naivasha port. The Naivasha port became a very big contentious issue at the campaign trail. And on the day, William Ruto wanted to show former President Uhuru Kenyatta that he was doing things wrongly and was coming up with the surgery. He made this statement.
This afternoon, I will be issuing instructions for clearing of goods and other attendant operational issues to revert to the port of Mombasa, as I made a commitment to Kenyans. This will restore thousands of jobs in the city of Mombasa. Ladies and gentlemen, we must stabilize our public finances.
Now, sometime later on, Susan Kihika is back. And it seems that once it has come to her realization, after she was elected the governor of Nakuru, that her constituents are losing on that move. So everyone, including Kihika, was clapping. And even at the campaign trail, there was no leader from Naivasha that challenged William Ruto's decision, or rather the William Ruto's position, to return the operations of Naivasha port back to Mombasa. Well, you could see the Mombasa team led by Jicho Pevu and Omar Hassan were calling press briefings one after the other, demanding that the government of Kenya Kwanza returns the port operations back to Mombasa. And now, I've always wondered why things change and politicians change. Susan Kihika, I think, is being pushed to the core, and the voters of Naivasha, Nakuru County, are demanding answers. Why is it that leaders from Naivasha, led by the governor, are quiet, even though they are seeing that the port is moving back to Mombasa, while the same port was helping the economy of Nakuru? The same port was, of course, small towns were coming up, settlements, people were building plots, people were buying land around that place because the economy was actually growing. And the people that mostly benefit from that place are actually the people are from Gema. Quite a number around Naivasha, Kikus really stay in Naivasha. They're demanding those answers. And now Susan Kihika seems to have changed the tone. While addressing, I think, members of County Assembly Nakuru, she came out and for once actually saying something that really shocked me. Listen to that.
We would have wanted for things to stay as they were. But given that he did go around the country and was given an overwhelming mandate to be the President of the Republic of Kenya, then as much as I'm asking you for the support on my agenda, then we let him do what is best for the country as the President of the Republic. I've wanted to see it stay here like it was. However, I have spoken with the President on that issue, and what the President has promised is that he will he'll give us every necessary help, including resources, to make sure that our dream of having a functional economic zone in Naivasha comes to be.
And then I'm like, did you really want things to be the same? She never spoke about it. If you have a clip of any leader in UDA around President William Ruto who didn't support the Naivasha port to be moved to Mombasa, I think you can drop it in my WhatsApp so that I just have a feel of it. Because the moment at the campaign time, Naivasha port was explained to be lying in Uhuru Kenyatta's private land and had nothing to do with the economy of people living in Naivasha. In fact, the leaders in Naivasha, they got consumed successfully by the shrewd politician William Samoei Ruto. And William Ruto, I think, is one politician who really knows when to call the shot. And I agree with people who say you can see what he's saying, but he normally has the intention. The politicians in Nakuru were blinded by the presidential strategy to spread hate messages against the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And one of the tools that was successfully used to portray President Uhuru Kenyatta as someone who did not look into the interest of his people was that Naivasha port. And it was like the Naivasha port was built on Uhuru Kenyatta's private land, and so it is his own private and has nothing to do with the people. That's what the people are told. But now it's now open that all that was just a political message. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. I want to continue asking us to also support, share our videos. Those of us that give feedback, don't take your feedback for granted. Are you also have you subscribed to the Scholars Bean, signed up in the Scholars Bean? We are urging you to post an ad so that at this moment there is a lot of traffic in the Scholars Bean. People are looking for products, they're looking for the books, for the school uniforms. So you can just sign up now and post an ad, post the book, post the school uniform at the price so that people can reach out to you. Now, I say that sometimes politics is local, and the moment people knows that, remember in when Raila Odinga was a prime minister, when Raila went to was in charge of the Mau conservation that came up with the Mau eviction process. The leaders in Rift Valley went and told the people that Raila is the problem because Raila is saying that he's protecting that catchment area for water. Bakini wao wakaambiwa, they were told that rains come from heaven. So Raila is lying. It became a political message, and that was the point of departure, honestly speaking, between the people that were staying around that place and Raila Odinga. Actually, that was one of the point of the departures between Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto, because William Ruto sharpened his team. When this decision was being made, he was in cabinet, Otieno Kajwang was in cabinet, and the same cabinet with Mwai Kibaki. So some of these things happen, but I think a politician in Naivasha should just come out and make a stand, because the Nakuru leaders are feeling that they were shortchanged. They were shortchanged, and I think they let their constituents down. While William Ruto was making a political decision to take the port to Mombasa, the merit of the port was underestimated due to political propaganda. Whether the port was in president's private land or not, the fact is the port in Mombasa, in Naivasha, was also employing people. And not that everything was taken there. Of course, maybe it was just the jobs were divided. The part of Mombasa was still there, maybe Kazi Merudi Chini, but there is also another part that is in Naivasha. So, to some extent, I think someone where the campaign trail, the leaders in Nakuru did not see. Now they're seeing that what President William Ruto did was a political move, and it has deprived them of an opportunity to come up with a very good economic zone. And of course, the presence of the port will be a big booster to that economic zone. So if you listen to what Susan Kihika is saying, that President Ruto has committed to support them even with the resources to make sure that their dream of having an economic zone comes true. That was also mentioned by William Ruto at the inauguration. But then, one of the ingredients to spearhead or to spur such a growth was that port. So the leaders are now feeling that they truly got into a very challenging area because they slept on their duty. And this, I have always maintained that when what Ruto is, the President Ruto, I want to say, is very schemy. Is very schemy and tactical. I can say that the decision to move the port from Naivasha to Mombasa was a tactical move. And the tactical move is, number one, what are the gains? Who is gaining? Indirectly, someone in Mombasa is gaining, the people that had been complaining about it. Number two, the people in Naivasha are losing. But politically, what do you think is happening? Maybe he's going to get more political mileage in the coast. This is an area that has been a very big challenge on his end. Now that he has taken the port there, he has also given them as Speaker of the Senate. What do you think will be his political message in 2027 or in future? He will actually portray himself and tell them show as the person who, not even showing, but truly, he is really giving them their stake. So it is a political move because Ruto has locked Gema. And the people that are around the president, for them to help their people, for them to make the problems in Mount Kenya that some of them had been complaining that were not accomplished by the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, I think they must learn and have the audacity to ask questions. Otherwise, that loyalty might be abused. And if you ask me, this is a loyalty being abused. Remember, Rigathi Gachagua was complaining that something is not right. Our people doesn't have job. It's about the fertilizer. It's about this. But again, I want you to imagine if that port was not in Naivasha. Let's try to imagine that port was in Nyeri. Do you think it would have been moved? No, it wouldn't have been moved. And there had been an argument of the shift because with the port, the SGR was highly active. So if operations are moving, clearance and most of those clerical operations are moving to the coast, the operations of the SGR might go down, and there is a question to how Kenya is going to service the SGR. Remember, we are still paying for it to date. The Chinese guys who built it, we are still paying for it to date. And one of the ways to pay for it is its operation. Probably that's what the president envisioned. But because Ruto might have realized that Gema is now in the box, they are not going to complain. They will not question. They've already been covered by a narrative that president was wrong and this thing was benefiting president personally. Okay, president can have a company, but the people who work in that company are other people. Raila has Spectrum. The people that worked in that Spectrum company are not his family members. The rest of the Kenyans are getting jobs there. So sometimes we don't look at the merit of the thing. And I think you can see that the smart William Ruto made sure that these young leaders, even the leaders around Nakuru, did not have an input on his agenda, on his port agenda. The MP for that area is, I think, Kihara. Kihara lost UDA nomination. And she was given that direct ticket by UDA after even losing at the nomination. So you can see the way she's really given them a stake. And look at it. There was a newspaper, I think, article that by Rigathi Gachagua saying that they met in Jane Kihara's house at one point to strategize on how they were going to spread the venom against President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I want to believe on that strategy. On that strategy, one of the issues that was put was about the port. So, how blindly could these Mount Kenya leaders really forget about their constituencies, the affairs and welfare of their constituencies, at the expense of political propaganda on the head of President Uhuru Kenyatta? And some people say that, okay, I think people might have to learn with the time. Susan Kihika, so good that he's now the governor. If the governor would have been on the other end on an Azimio, I am cocksure the governor would have pushed that port remain there. But, even if you look at the body language of Susan Kihika, she's kind of regretting that we would want it to be here, but it can't be seen. This is the truth about the port, that it really helped to boost the economy of the area. So this is the question. The president has promised them that he's going to take care and make sure that the economy is boosted and their dream of having that economic zone is seen. How is it then? What is going to replace the port? The people that worked at Naivasha port, are they going to be jobless? So someone should streamline in a manner that job is divided, not that everything else goes to Mombasa. And someone at Mombasa port, I really want to do something. I hope maybe one day before the end of the year, I'll just go to Mombasa and go around the port and see what exactly is happening there. Someone should tell us really what exactly is now the impact. People who are in Mombasa, what is the impact of the port in Mombasa? Are you feeling an impact? Are you feeling some difference after it was moved from Naivasha to Mombasa? Or there is no change? It will be a very interesting observation to make. And of course, we will really want to document these stories more. The lesson here is, even if there is the presidential agenda, I think it's upon the local leader to make sure that the affairs, a national agenda that affects his people, is actually addressed. And the catch is Raila might not talk about this because Raila also have a long-term relationship and friendship with the coast. So if he agitates for Naivasha at the expense of coast, it's political. So it's very delicate, ladies and gentlemen. That's my bold analysis.